everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have part 2, I guess, of my Kringle Candle buy one get one sale hauling. If you caught my video, I think it was last week, I shared my first buy one get one sale order. Man, that sale went on for a long time. That was a really hard time to try to hold your willpower. If you were trying to either sit it out or go conservative. I ordered, I think, 10 candles last time. And at the end of that video, I said, I'm really trying not to go back in. Well, they got me. I went back in. In my defense, I was going on there to shop the ambassador pre-order for the bottle rocket and cherry pie candles. And I said, while I'm in here, maybe I'll just grab a couple more things. And, that's what happened. So my order this time was smaller. I had a little bit more self-control, but, buy one, get one. That's a hard sale to resist. And thank you guys for sharing all your orders. You made me feel a little bit better that I'm not alone in, in this. I think everyone was feeling the temptation with that sale. So, good shopping, guys. Yeah, you know what? If you've got the money and it makes you happy, why not? I have zero judgment for any of that. So we're all here to have fun. Let's take a look at what I picked up this time around. I picked up 3 scents that are new to me and 1 repeat from my last order. Can you figure it out? It's up in the corner back there. I have been burning, we'll start there, I guess, coconut blueberry tart. I just can't get enough of this one. I don't know what it is about it. There's just something I love, and I'm so mad at myself for waiting so long to finally try it, because I can't tell you guys how many times I had this in my cart over the last couple of years and, took it out for one reason or another. And, now that I finally pulled the trigger on it, it really has won me over, and I keep reaching for it. So I'm really hoping that this one makes the transition over into the Kringle candle line once the country jars are used up. But just in case it doesn't, excuse me, just in case it doesn't, I didn't want to miss my chance to grab at least 1 more of these because I am really enjoying it. I'll read you the notes quickly, but we won't spend too much time here because I did talk about it a bit more in my last video, which I will link in the description. And that's time-stamped as well. So if you just want to see what I said about this one, you can kind of click right to it. But for notes here, we have coconut, blueberry, plum, butter, orange, peach, cinnamon, jasmine, raspberry, almond, vanilla, caramel, and musk. So there's a whole lot going on in these notes. Honestly, I don't smell all of these different elements. Primarily, I get blueberry and a creamy coconut, like a juicy blueberry and a creamy coconut, mixed with something that kind of resembles a crust type note without there being a true crust note in here, with that cinnamon, I think, and the almond here. So one thing I will point out with this one, on cold, this smells slightly different to me than that one did on cold. And I know sometimes when we're reviewing candles, you guys will get them and think they smell completely different to you, or, you think we're lying, or, or, we're just making things up. Honestly, I mean, I'm the same person here, and I'm telling you guys, both of these smell slightly different to me on cold. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes I feel like people put a little too much weight in what we say. This is all subjective. Everyone's nose is going to be very different. And listen to multiple reviewers. Don't just listen to my word. There's a ton of ambassadors. There's a ton of people in the Facebook group sharing their own experiences. So get different opinions. See, what other people are saying as well before you make a decision. But I get more of that crusty sort of quality up front here in this one than I do in that one. That one, I got a little bit more of the blueberry and coconut first, and then, that crust kind of to the back, which I will say comes out more when it's burning. So I'm not too worried about this. It's not strikingly different, but if I were describing this one for you, to you guys for the first time, I would have probably worded it differently than I talked about it in that video. So just keep that in mind, when you're listening to first impressions and things like that. It could just be that some of those oils are a little bit more at the surface here, and I'm just getting a little bit more of that up front. But either way, that crusty sort of piece was, it's almost like nutty here. Almost in the realm of a peanut. I don't know. It's a little different. But yeah, you know, I loved that sort of quality to, you know, the burn here. So I'm thinking that as this one goes, it will probably even out to be pretty darn similar to that one. But yeah, just something that I noticed that I wanted to point out to you guys. But that is coconut and blueberry tart. If you haven't tried it already, you know, take it from me. If you're on the fence, just try it. You know, what do you got to lose at this point? But yeah, they got me for a second jar. So the others are new to me. I also have one more that I threw in, and that is Jellybean Jubilee. This was like the straggler from my Easter clearance order. I said I would talk about it briefly here in one of these videos for you guys because I never covered it at Easter time. I actually have never had this candle. So for Jellybean Jubilee, I'm not the biggest fruity fan. I'm not the biggest licorice fan. So I'll give you the notes here first. We've got bright citrus, lemon, and tangerine, juicy cherry, candied blueberries, vanilla sugar, fruit medley, and licorice highlight. So for me, like nothing about the notes really ever made me want to, you know, kind of purchase this at the full price. But for 75% off, you know, I'll try near anything. So for 75% off when this was still in stock, and I like the packaging here in the pink jar, you know, they got me. I said, why not? You know, it's almost like I had to have it for my collection at this point because I've had all the other Easter ones. But for me, you know, it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. The cherry note here is a little iffy for me. It's a little like that Luden's cough droppy cherry to me a little bit. I do get the licorice, but that's not as off-putting as I would have thought it was. It's to the background. I did burn it once just for curiosity's sake. But it's very sort of like that generically fruity where you have like that mixture of different fruits where cherry, I would say, is probably the most distinct fruity note with maybe a little bit of a citrus, but otherwise I'm not getting like any super specific fruity notes from this with like that licorice in the background. So, I mean, I like it more than I would have thought. It's probably good that I bought it at the 75% off because I don't know if I would have been super happy with it if I had bought it at full price. You know, that affects your feelings about fragrances. I'm telling you the price, but yeah, Jellybean Jubilee. I'm glad I'm trying it. I will probably try this again more towards the summer, maybe. Because it's very like fruity. It's very light and kind of like that summerish fruit to me. It does smell a little bit like jelly beans, but it's also a little different than I would have thought. So I don't know. Jellybean Jubilee, have you tried this? What do you think about it? You know, maybe it will change a little bit as it burns. I only did one short burn on this, but glad I tried it nonetheless. And I do see myself burning it a little bit here and there when the mood strikes. So, now I guess we're kind of going to jump seasons a little bit here. This is kind of, I guess we'll go with one of the anytime sort of fragrances. I picked up Sweet Peach. So again, with this order, I kind of focused more on country candles, but I did end up getting one of the Kringle jars that I've been eyeing for a while. But for Sweet Peach, this is another one that had been in and out of my cart a bunch of times, just like coconut and blueberry. And I said, you know what? Now's the time. Let's go for it. We've got no notes on the bottom here, but really this is kind of like, from what I've read, most reviews have said it was kind of like almost in a little bit of a bakery sort of gourmand peachy family, not like a straight fruity juicy family, because there is, I think, a little bit of an oats note here. But what I smell on cold, I get a sweet peach with a sort of just a light bakery background here, definitely in keeping with something of an oat family. The first thing that came to mind when I smelled this one, if you ever had Quaker Oats, they have those like oatmeal packets. There's one like peaches and cream. I used to love that one as a kid. But peaches and cream oatmeal, that's kind of what I smell with this. More peach. There's a creaminess, like a vanilla aspect to it as well. With like a background of something like a lighter sort of bakery pastry sort of note, in keeping with like an oat or an oat crumble topping maybe with a little bit of a butteriness to it. So, you know, I like it on cold. Peach, I'm a little iffy with peach. I did like the gingered peach that came out in the reserve line. But for the most part, I've mostly stayed away from peach because there's just something that I usually don't love about them, but yeah, I like this one. So I'm looking forward to burning this. It's probably going to be a summer sort of fruity bakery burn for me, unless it really comes out with more of a, with more of that crusty, you know, granola almost like quality to it when it's burning. But I could see this being a really nice summer to fall transition as well, when you want a little bit of that bakery element without going too heavy right away. But that's Sweet Peach. And again, my first time with this one, so I'm glad I had a chance to pick it up. Not sure if that one will be making a transition. But another first time scent here for me. This one I feel like is a little bit more distinctly fall, but could also be in that transition period as well, because it's not super heavy, and that is Anjou and Allspice. This was kind of a wild card for me. I kind of threw this one at the last minute. I've always wondered about it, but there was something about it, the allspice, that I wasn't really sure if I was going to like it. Here we've got notes of pear, allspice, juniper, pear, again, gin, accord, vanilla, cream, and nutmeg. I don't get anything boozy about this. I'm not the, I don't think I've even ever drank gin. Honestly, I probably couldn't pick it out of a scent lineup. I don't really know what that smells like, but there's nothing boozy here to me about this at all. So if gin accord was throwing you in the scent notes, you know, unless something changes on burning, I don't think that's really, you know, the focus here. But for me, this is a nice spiced pear scent. The pear is very juicy, very much like your ripe pear. So those pears that have been sitting maybe in the bowl on the counter for a while, and they get nice and soft and juicy and very sweet. That's what I get here, mixed with a fall spice. Allspice, yeah, I get a hint of a clove, a hint of a cinnamon. You know, this just smells really fall like to me. So if you like those sort of like baked pear types of scents, I don't really even know if there really hasn't been too many pear scents that I can even think of to compare this to. I think Homeworks had a pear scent at one point. It was like pear, was it like a flambe or something? No, maybe not flambe. But there was a pear scent from Homeworks. I didn't have that one. But I like this. I think I'm really going to be enjoying this. This will probably be a September burn for me, I'm thinking. You know, here the weather, it takes a little while to cool off. Usually it doesn't get really cool until October, but like we still get those chilly days in September. So I feel like this is going to be a September candle for me. But glad I'm trying this for the first time. You know, I know there was a lot of reviews on this one, so I don't know if we'll see this again. But Anjou and Allspice, I feel like, was it in the Kringle line before? It might have been. I can't remember now. But I do really like this one. And then last but not least here, I've got another fall fragrance, the one Kringle that I picked up. Now, if you follow some of the YouTubers, I know Katie over at Katie's Joyful Life has been talking about this one. I've seen so many reviews lately popping up in the Kringle Facebook group. I am talking about Autumn Amber. This is one of those ones. When I went to the Kringle Candle store years ago, now we're talking like maybe 5.5, 6 years ago, the last time I got to the Kringle store, I smelled there was a couple autumn ones that had a similar sort of goldish label, and there was one that had a cologne-y tone to it that I did not like. And I think what happened, why I've overlooked this one for so long, is that I was thinking that this was that cologne-y type scent that I smelled in the store back in the day. And it's definitely not. I think I was confusing it for another one. I forget what it was called, but this is very different. And the notes here, apple blossom, floral, cedarwood, and pine. You know what? They say apple blossom, but I feel like I get more of an actual apple. I think others have said it's comparable to Bath & Body Works, is it autumn? But for me, it's very that leafy, appley, sort of that quintessential autumn feel. And as a New England girl, this is like what I'm looking for in a fall leafy scent. I like this more than Bath & Body Works leaves on cold. I like this more than the Kringle leaves on cold, which was very similar to Bath & Body Works style. It's not really like, there's a somewhat of a floral tone here, but it's not heavy on the floral, which, you know, just reading the notes alone, I still probably would have said, you know, this is one I can pass on. But just hearing so many good things, I said, let's try it. And I'm glad I am, because I really think this will be a nice October scent in my house here in New England, where the leaves are turning and you have that nice crisp chill in the air. And just, you know, there's something about that crunchy leaves like scent. If you don't live in the area where you have that, you know, feeling, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, like, you know, brag about it or anything, but New England falls are pretty fabulous. So if you can get up here and visit that time of the year at least once in your lifetime, I suggest you do it. There's nothing like the colors and just that smell of the crisp leaves and the fall air. It's just, there's nothing like it. So this is like really in keeping with that. So if you're looking to bring that feeling to your home without actually doing the travel, you know what, I think, you know, I'll maybe review this at some point as long as it's still around in the lineup come fall. But Autumn Amber, a really nice pickup, and I'm really happy with everything I ordered. So yeah, that's it for today. The sale is over, thank goodness, because I don't think I could afford to go back in again. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I do have some reviews coming up for you guys next week. And, you know, we'll see what other trouble I can get into in the meantime. But thank you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a wonderful week, and take care of yourselves out there.